This is Robert Harper with Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division. Glad to bring you the Merchandiser Minute for Friday, September the 4th, 2020. Let's take a look at how the futures ended up this week in Chicago. We've got December corn traded all week, down a penny to close at $3.58. November soybeans, another up week. They were up 18 cents a bushel this week in Chicago to close at $9.68. And the December wheat contract was up 2 cents this week to close at $5.50 a bushel. We've got some real opportunities here for those of you that are headed to the field now and in the field shelling corn. Let's talk next week and think about the percentages of the corn that you have marketed that you have to deliver this fall. We've got good opportunities in the futures market. We've got good opportunities in the basis market to make a nice cash price for you, especially if you are achieving average and above average yield. We've also got those same good opportunities for soybeans. So give us a call next week and let's talk about those opportunities so we don't miss anything. We definitely had an exciting week this week. We started a new marketing year on September the 1st for corn and soybeans. We've got that old crop off the books according to the USDA, and we're starting with a brand new set of numbers. That's very important for so many different reasons, especially from an export demand side. We measure what we do by that September 1st to August 31st marketing year. We also got out of September futures on corn and on wheat. It was nice to see y'all price or either roll those basis contracts. We got all that cleaned up, and it really felt like a fresh start this week as we came into a new month. We had days this week where we did see flash sales announcements from China like we have the previous 3 weeks, but we also had some days this week where we didn't see those flash sales announcements, and it really backed up a lot of the opinion that that's putting a lot of support under the futures part of your cash price, and when those announcements don't come, it's hard for the board to rally. So we're going to look forward to that in our short trade week next week to see those flash sales announcements every day. Last Friday, when we got the commitment of traders report, and we'll be getting today's here shortly, we saw a small long position for the managed money wheat speculator, a growing large long position for the managed money soybean speculator, and a short position that's shrinking for corn. In this week's trade, those futures closing numbers that we just went through backed up that same theme. No change this week in market psychology from the managed money speculator. So that's a good thing. Let's take a look at what the USDA said. Monday's crop progress report, we saw Virginia corn rated at 32%, good to excellent. We know that's way below the average. We know many parts of Virginia suffered a 5 to 7 week drought this summer, and that's really being reflected in that good to excellent rating for Virginia corn. Virginia soybeans at 56%, good to excellent. And coming into this week, we had corn harvested 9%, and a year ago we were at 19%. So that reflects again y'all teaching us that the corn just hasn't dried down. Drought-stressed corn doesn't dry down the same way as a healthy corn plant dries down. We've also seen continued rain showers this week that have stymied corn harvest to some degree, and at the same time helped our bean prospects for a big yield look good. As far as the U.S. crop goes, the USDA had corn down 2% this week, and it's good to excellent rating at 62%, and had the bean crop down 3% this week. That's a 66% good to excellent rating for U.S. soybeans. Export loadings this week, the top destinations were China and Mexico. Everything came in as expected on the loading side. When we got to Thursday and we saw the weekly export report, which is kind of a summation of all the daily flash sales announcements, we saw Mexico as the top buyer for all three, corn, wheat, and beans. That was pretty neat to see that. And we were within expectation on that export sales report. If we take a couple of seconds here, the time we've got to talk about probably the most asked question I got this week is, what in the world is going on with Chicago wheat? Why is it rallying like it's rallying? We're very thankful for that. I've seen a lot of you all price next year's wheat this week, 2021 wheat. If you would like to talk about that, let's talk next week. Pick the phone up and call Josie or I, and we can look at those opportunities for you. Basically, we've had Argentina lower their estimate for this year's crop. We've had Europe lower their estimate for yield on this year's crop. That's been a part of it, and one analyst that I pay attention to is teaching me. He follows Russian weather very closely. We know that Russia grows twice the amount of wheat that the United States does. They're forecasted a very dry fall. So there's been some interest with the speculator going long wheat futures because of a potential dry fall in Russia. This week, switching gears, we saw the ethanol EIA report come in. We had production up 1%, and for the third week in a row, we had stocks up. Now, this week they were up 2.3%. And if we drop back a little bit, we haven't talked about in a while what crude oil and ethanol and unleaded gas futures are doing, and we know all of those are very directly connected to your corn price. This week, crude oil traded around $40 a barrel. Ethanol traded around $1.30 a gallon on the futures board, and unleaded gas was traded on both sides of $1.20 a gallon. So let's talk more about that and investigate that yourself as well. We know the dollar made new lows this week. We know the lower the dollar goes, the better it is for exports here in the U.S., and that's what we're going to be looking forward to next week. Remember, there's no Sunday night or Monday session due to the holiday. We'll open back up Tuesday morning. We'll open back up Monday night at 8 o'clock, but there's no Sunday night or Monday session. Short week for the holiday. Weather's going to be all important, not only North America, but now South America, as we're right on the edge of their producers going to the fields to plant. And remember, the big deal next week, we get the September crop report from USDA on Friday at noon. This is Robert at Virginia Farm Bureau's Grain Division.